I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together.
I'm taking a short trip with my family and some friends, and I'm taking my manuscript with me, and right now I am going to pack my writing bag. Before I start packing though, I want to just take 5 minutes and just write down all the things I want to carry, and then I can narrow it down to the things I really need versus the things I can do without while I'm on that trip. So the place that I'm going to will not have network, mostly will not have network, and if at all I do, it'll be really spotty, and I cannot depend on having my cloud access to my manuscripts. So I want to download the portion of the manuscript that I know I'll be working on while I'm on this trip. And while there is not a whole lot that I did this week, and also I did not have a lot of time to plan out a thorough video about manuscript and how the series that I've been working on, I thought I'll do a Q&A I haven't done in a very long time. So I've gone through my comment section on my YouTube channel, my community, my Facebook group, as well as the frequently asked questions that I get on my Instagram, and I thought I'll just take a few from there and just rapid fire just go through them in this video. And so without much ado, let's get into the frequently asked questions. So I have pulled up about 15-20 questions up here on my screen, and the first question and the most frequent one that recently I've been getting, and I think it's because my video on copyright has been picked up by the algorithms, and a lot of people are seeing that video and have questions about it. On copyright, I have a lot of questions about how to register for copyright and specific discrepancies that people get when they submit for copyright registration. The first thing I want to point out is that I'm not an expert on copyright. Here on my channel, I share only my experiences, so I can go and Google something out and tell you about it, but it's not really adding anything. I don't have any experience, so I can't really add to that conversation. But having said that, let me quickly look at the points I have over here. So the video that I made on copyright, it was a general video just talking about whether or not we need to copyright our work. That was the basic purpose of copyright, and what the process would look like at a bird's eye view. That was going on their website and following the process, and I have gone through what the process is, so I'll link that video for you, but you can get that information from their website itself. You don't even have to watch my video for that. And I'll also link the website and the FAQ section of copyright website for your easy access. When it comes to the individual discrepancies that you receive, there is no way I can really have any input on that, because there are so many things that go into filing a copyright, and without having the details, I cannot give you any answer. So instead of spending time and writing to me about it, I would urge you to get in touch with the help desk of Copyright Office. That is the best way and the only way to get your problems resolved, in my opinion. There might be experts who can help you out with this, but I'm not one of them.
Now, as per Copyright Office of Government of India, and I quote, "No, acquisition of copyright is automatic and it does not require any formality. Copyright comes into existence as soon as a work is created, and no formality is required to be completed for acquiring copyright. However, certificate of registration of copyright and the entries made therein serve as prima facie evidence in a court of law with reference to dispute relating to ownership of copyright." So there you have it. Government of India says that you don't need to register your work under Copyright Office.
Then there were some questions related to copyright when it comes to copywriting your work before submitting it to a traditional publisher or submitting it to any other type of publisher. Now, in my opinion, and what I know from having author friends in self-publishing and in traditional publishing, you generally don't need to copyright your work before you submit your work for their evaluation. You don't need to do that. Most likely, if you're going for a submission, there will be some changes that the publisher will ask you to make, and in traditional publishing, they are going to take care of that. Now the question comes to, you want to protect your work when you're submitting it to someone, and if you want to protect yourself, go ahead and register it. But I wouldn't do it for my work, firstly. Secondly, when I am going for copyright, I will not copyright the work that the manuscript that I'm working on right now. I have decided that I'll copyright the final version of my manuscript. And since I'm a self-published author and I'm not planning to approach any traditional publisher, or for that matter even self-publishing companies, I don't need to worry about that fact. A lot of questions come for editors when you're submitting your work to editors. A good editor is not in the business of taking your work. Okay, that's my experience. Your experience can be different. If you're working with a legitimate editor, they are not interested in being shady. With my work, I will register my manuscript only when I am absolutely sure that this is the final version of it. And the way I would go about it probably is, once my book is published, that's the version I'm going to go and get it registered. And you can use the term copyright even if you have not registered it. And you can do your own research, look it up on the copyright website and see how you can do that for yourself. But this is how I am going to go about it. The next question that I get very often is about cost of self-publishing, and they are worded differently, but the crux of it is they want to know how much it's going to cost if they go the self-publishing route. Now, I have done a series of video where I've covered my process of self-publishing, and based on that process, what each of my books have costed me at the time that I published them. I've also given you the services that I've gone with, whether or not I hired a professional to do certain things for me, and if I used certain apps to create, say, my cover page, what were those apps and how much did those things cost me. And also I've talked about the ROI, return on investment angle of self-publishing. I've also talked about the production cost of self-publishing outside of just writing and writing related cost. Then I've also covered a lot of all these things, if not most of my videos. I've covered them from the angle of print on demand, POD view, because that's how I have published my books. I have not invested a bulk sum of money to get a number of books just published and then gone about distributing them. That's not what I have done. So what I'm talking about is mostly from the POD point of view. The next thing that I have over here is, yes, I get a lot of questions about different self-publishing companies and specifically Notion Press and the different self-publishing packages that they offer and which one in my opinion is better. Now, I haven't used any self-publishing companies to self-publish my book. I have done that myself, so I'm the publisher for all my books. And so to talk about the publishing packages and which one is better, I don't have any perspective on it. I have no experience with that, so I can't really talk about that. Having said that, what I would suggest you do while you are looking at self-publishing companies and the packages that they offer, firstly, look at the terms and conditions, look at what they are offering you and evaluate those things with what your goal is from publishing that book, and also most importantly, look at their payment terms, because a lot of time I get messages from people who have hired self-publishing companies and they have had trouble with getting their royalties. So check if that's going to be an issue with the company that you are planning to go with. I again have not hired anyone for this purpose, so I have not faced these problems, but from what I know from other fellow authors, that's a concern most of them have. And so if you are planning to work with a self-publishing company, make sure you have your expectations cleared and they know what your expectations are, and then you can see if they can actually meet your expectations. So that's all I have to say with that. Coming back to the cost of self-publishing, I haven't published any books recently, but once I do publish my books, hopefully next year, I'll do an updated version of cost of self-publishing. For now, you can watch the playlist I have on cost of self-publishing. I'll make sure to link that in the description of this video. The next question that I have here, can you make a video on marketing strategy for long term, say 1 to 2 years on Amazon within a budget? So when I started self-publishing, I didn't know what I was doing. I did not use the Amazon ads, so I cannot give you a direct response to that, how to go about it and things. I did spend some money trying to figure out how that works, and I wasn't successful in it. I did not see any result from spending how much ever money that I did at that time. The only results that I have seen with the marketing efforts that I make is engaging on social media. Specifically, this YouTube channel has helped me get the word out about my book. Even if I'm not actively promoting my books are always in the background somewhere. People get curious to know what I've written, and they themselves go out and look for the books. I also have my books linked in the description of all my videos. That is the only source that I see that has actually made any significant impact on my sales. And that is why I talk a lot about author platform, because that's the only place I'm actually seeing some results. Not to say that other ways of promoting book and marketing strategies don't work. I'm talking about what I have experienced, and I haven't spent a lot of time or money figuring out Amazon's ad or Facebook ads and those things. I have tinkered with them and I've seen no results. Now that could be user error. I don't know how to do those things, and that's why I have not seen any results. So if you have the budget for it, you can hire experts to do that for you, and then you can see for yourself if you see any results from that. There are a few things that I want to do once I publish my next book. And when I do that, I'll share with you the things that I do, how much I spend money on those marketing strategies and activities. And I can actually show you results of how those translated into book sales, because at the end of the day, we all want book sales. So I can do a detailed video on that once I have enough data on it. Like I said, I haven't published my books in the recent years, and so I can't really talk about it, but this is a very good idea for a video, and I'll keep it in my video ideas list, and as and when I have experience with this, I'll make sure to make a video about this. The next question that I have here is, how much do authors make? Do I make a livable income from my books, or do I have other jobs? I don't make a livable income from my writing at the moment, and the whole goal is to be able to make a livable income, and that's why I share on this channel all the things that I'm learning and how I'm approaching things, so that you can see one of the ways to do something like this. I haven't been promoting my previous books actively. They're always in the back end in my background somewhere, but I don't actively promote my books at the moment. Do I have other jobs? No, I don't have any other job at the moment, but I do have a partner who takes care of the financial responsibilities of our family. So I am lucky and privileged in that sense that I don't have to worry about paying my bills. Talking about privilege, I highly recommend reading the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she has this beautiful take on how we should look at, how she suggests that we look at funding our creative pursuits, and that resonates with me a lot. That's my take on the money aspect of writing books. Author income, yeah, so I did a video on that. I have shared about the different things that you could consider as author income and how you can set this up, how you can back these services with certain qualifications. So if you want to look at how you can diversify your skill set to earn money under the umbrella of author income, check that video out. I'll link it in the description section. The next question I have over here is publishing paperbacks in India. So how I publish my paperbacks in India is I have them available through Amazon's KDP, but I also use a local POD service called pothi.com. I use their services primarily because at this point of time, Amazon does not have a print-on-demand partner in India, which makes it difficult for you to print your books within the country itself. So your books are being printed outside of India, and then they are being sent to your buyer, your reader who has purchased the book, which makes it expensive. The shipping cost is usually higher than the cost of the book itself, and that makes no sense because I know some of my books cost 2,000, 2,500, and no one is going to pay you that much amount for a book. So the workaround that I have is publishing it through pothi.com, and they have a slightly different process than KDP, but you can use almost the same files that you would use to upload your manuscript on KDP. You can use the same files for Pothi, and setting that up is very simple. You have to give in your bank details and fill in their criteria, which is not exactly the same as KDP, but very similar. They're asking you the same information, maybe just in different format. So that's what I use to self-publish my paperbacks in India. There are other ways you can do that, but this is the way I do it. The next question, and I'm going to go about it in a rapid fire style because I want to finish this so that when I come back from my trip, I have a video to edit, and I can put them up when I'm back. All right, so the next question, rapid fire style, is how much do you spend on marketing your books? How to market your book for free? Can you be a successful author without marketing your book? So the first part, how much do I spend on marketing my books? At the moment, zero. How much I've spent in the past, I'll link all the videos where I talk about that. How to market your book for free? I would say the easiest way to market your book for free is by investing your time in creating an author platform. And by that, I don't mean going to book influencers and spamming them about buying your book or reviewing your book. There is a better way to do that, and I have made a video on that as well. I'll link it in the description. Can you be successful? Yes, anything can happen, but in my experience, you have to market your book because there are way too many books and you have to stand out in the crowd. So you have to think about marketing your book. You can do it for free. You can be creative about it. You have to put in your time for that. In my opinion, you can be successful without marketing your book, but that's a very remote possibility. Is it safe to submit your manuscript to a publisher? You have to do your due diligence in vetting the publishers you're submitting your manuscript to. People who are in the business for the right reasons will not scam you. but you have to do the work to figure out whether they are scammers or not. If you come across a publisher that you have not heard of, or you are considering hiring them or working with them, go to Amazon, see the kind of books that they have published in the past. If you can, approach the authors of those books, ask them what has been their experience working with the publisher, but do your due diligence. No one is looking out for your interest. You have to do that for yourself. Next question is how to find a critique partner. Critique partners are a very, very valuable thing to have. I have found that it takes a little bit of working on building that relationship where you can give feedback and receive feedback from someone in a safe way, in a respectful way. You can find people like this online. Also, workshops. There are websites where you can get feedback from other fellow writers. I'll link one such website. If I remember it, I'll flash it on the screen right now, and I'll link it in the description section as well. Sorry, coming back to critique partner, I would say that's one of the best ways to get feedback on your manuscript, and that also allows you to think critically about someone else's story and apply that critical thinking to your own work. So I highly recommend finding some writing partners who can eventually turn into critique partners. The next question is, need help with my book, how to contact you? So I don't offer one-on-one services, not at the moment. I don't have the bandwidth to provide such services right now, and that's one of the reasons why this channel exists. Instead of helping just one person, I can be of help to others, more than one person at a time. I want to publish books in English, but my English is not good. Here I would say, first of all, figure out who's your target reader. If your target reader is also reading in English, then it makes sense to write books in English, and you can polish your English by working on it. There are many free courses that can help you with that. Also, there are apps like Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid that you can use to fix your manuscript if you're writing it in English. Further on, if you work with an editor, they can help you with that as well. But you have to do some basic polishing of your English if you feel you need that. And you'll find free courses on Coursera, Skillshare that can help you with that. The next point that I would like to point out is the more you write, the more you read, and the more you speak in the language that you want to write in, it's only going to help you with your writing and your manuscript. So consider that. Also, consider writing in Indian languages because there is a big market for that as well. And Amazon's KDP has options to publish your books in local languages in India. Next question is YouTube channel as an author platform? Yes. For me, in my experience, it has been a great boost to my book sales. And that's why I talk about it so often, even though those videos don't get much views. And I understand people might not get why I talk about it so much. But if you would want me to share my experiences about how this channel has made so much impact on my author side of things, I can do that. Let me know in the comments if you want a video like that. Help me publish my book. This goes with the earlier question. It's just not possible for me to carve out time for services like these. I would love to in the future, offer some sort of helping hand to authors and writers, but right now it's just not possible for me. I have been creating more videos on writing craft, which you can check out. I'll link it in the description as well, as I'm learning about the craft of writing, how to write suspense, and I'm hoping to do that for romance as well, as I'm working on another manuscript. I'll share what I'm learning, and that's really all I can do right now. I can share what I'm learning through these videos so that I can reach more people and maybe extend my time like that, because if I was to help just one person right now, one-on-one, that would be just one person, but my hope is to reach more people through these videos. If in future I do open up my time and have these kind of services, I'll definitely talk about it over here. The next question is how to flesh out the story. I love this question because I did a video about what you can do if you're an underwriter, because I'm an underwriter and I have struggled with fleshing out my story. I'll link that video because I go more in detail about it. The next question is, what should be the word count for my book? Okay, I'll pop up this graphic that will show you what is the expected word count for each genre. How to get your checklist. I am planning to scale back on all the free resources that I've had in the past, so I'll link the free resources in this video, and probably if you happen to get your hand on it while they're still available, well and good, because I'm working on scaling all this back because it's harder for me to keep up with this. To receive them, you have to subscribe to my newsletter, and I would love for you to be on my list so that I can reach out to you when there are other things that I have planned for in the future. If you want to stay in the loop, do stick around, but if you don't want to, you can get the free checklist and you can unsubscribe after that. How to edit my book. Do I need to hire an editor? So editing has various phases. Some people consider rewriting as a part of editing. So you have to edit your book in some fashion or the other. You have to also self-edit your book once you feel your manuscript is more or less ready before you hire an editor. I have always hired an editor to help me with my manuscript, and that's what I recommend. And I have shared a series of videos which I'll pop up here, and I'm planning to do an updated version of these videos in the future where I talk about whether or not your book needs an editor, what type of editor you need, what type of editing you need, how to go about hiring an editor, how to work out contracts and what to include in contracts, where you can find editors, all these things. I have a video on that, and I'll link that series in the description section. The next question is, can you copyright a self-published book? Yes, you can copyright your self-published book. I already outlined the whole story, but the problem is I think I'm not that good with words. That's all right. That's part of being a writer. We all feel like we are not good at times or most of the time. What I would suggest in this case is keep writing. If you feel you're not able to do justice to the idea that you have right now, set it aside and work a little bit on your writing craft. And some of the ways to do that is writing courses and all those things set aside. Go for writing small pieces and use writing prompts for that. A while back, I felt very stuck creatively, and I went back to this activity that I used to do way back when I just started getting into creative writing. And there's a website called Write Now, WRITE Now. I'll link the website here. They would send a writing prompt every day, and you could take whatever amount of time you wanted and just expand on that. And that was such a wonderful practice for me when I just started off. And that's something that came back to me the other day, and I just did like a short writing session where I went about working on, I think, 5 writing prompts. So try that really helps. And even if you don't go for that website, you can just go on Google, type writing prompts, and you can get a lot of writing prompts, and they'll tell you how to go about writing them. If you want me to make a specific video on writing prompts, I can do that. I can share how I go about it. Let me know in the comments below. And this is going to be the last question. Please make a video on how you figured out the target audience. And this was a question by Vani. I think I will make a dedicated video on this. I feel there is a lot I can get into, and I don't want this video to be any longer than it already is, because I don't want to spend a lot of time editing this video. For now, I'm more or less done with packing my bag. So I just decided to take my tablet, and I have my manuscript in Goodreads. That reminds me, I should make sure that my pencil is charged so that I I have something to work with. I also took a small notebook just because it's easy to carry and I can just write things down. I'll share some pictures from the trip if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.